You get one of the dog?
You want a picture of the dog?
She's attended every one of these events. Yeah. Good seat is up front. Don't be shy. You're like that? All right. Right, but we're gonna. Is the sound up on this thing? Can you hear this?
I'm hearing it, but it doesn't sound like it's amplifying. Someone might have turned it down.
Somebody turned that down. Someone's gonna turn it back up. Otherwise, I'm gonna go without a microphone. It's just without
Yeah, so someone must have turned it down.
You might have. Maybe it's on the microphone. Have a seat up front, guys. That's good. Don't be shy. People out there. We haven't started yet. This is Steve Jones on the piano. This is my therapy dog. It's been a nerve-wracking week, so I had to bring her with me. So we're going to be starting with the comedians and speakers shortly. This is Steve Jones. We are. I don't know what's wrong. Maybe it's up here. Is it on?
The sound's going to be
Maybe the wire got crossed. I don't know. It's a radio mic. It's red over here. What? I don't know. You gotta go ask the guy in the back here. Here. Somebody.
I don't think the issue's with the mic.
What? Did you talk to Dan?
we sitting down somewhere? Is that you, Julie? I was recommending by James Murray. Ask Dave. He might. Ford might. Maybe we'll check the cameras. Oh, he might. I don't know if I
Okay. Maybe Wyatt. Help him with the I want to meet you. How about this? How can we do it? I know maybe more computer is not Don't worry, folks, it's all going to work out. We do have a full house. We do have a Well, the place is packed, believe me.
So good to see you. I didn't know you were in town. Yes.
No, I don't like it.
You know anything about sound there, Mr. Jones? You're having a hard time. Who would touch that? Anybody touch that? Anybody sabotage it? Or is it one of those mechanisms coming from Vault 7 that fucked up that sound system tonight? 10 minutes before we started. That's it. NSA got to our sound system. It's like they're trying to wire a nuclear weapon or something. My guys we are going to get started. See, we are doing a show next week in New York. This is kind of a shakedown for us, all right? We had to get all the bugs out before we do the show in New York at the big theater on St. Mark's, which is also sold out. We're jammed here. You folks out there in Auckland, you folks out there in Berlin, believe me, we're going to talk about you in a minute. Just relax, enjoy the music. All right? But we have a full house. We got John Kyrioko here. We got K.M. Wright. We got my good friend Margaret Ratner Cumsey. You know, Kyrioko, it took me like 2 years to learn how to... Me and Dennis Bernstein. It took... That's true. You've been on the show 10 times, I never get your name right. It was like trying to memorize one of those menus at a Greek diner in New York. You're like this thing, you know? No, you ever seen those? I couldn't get that name right. And the worst was Dennis Bernstein. You know, he's a John Kirk. We had that like 3 times when we were doing the show at KPF. John Kirk. John Kokomo.
Today was, I got cured out today.
Well, we're working on the sound system here. I am loud, so it doesn't really matter. But some are soft-spoken. I know John is loud. John is loud. Lee, by the time Lee's on, it will be working. Lee's like, I think he sabotaged it, so the sound only works for him. I'm just joking. Thank you all. Max is here. Max, you can be loud, I know that. Anya is very soft-spoken.
This is working, right?
Medea is really loud when she's upset.
What do you mean?
Yeah, so like you can see here, second channel.
I
is
can
this.
just use
It's getting
her
levels
as the
through.
amplifier.
And that's going all the way through
Channel
to
it
the
through
same
you,
thing that
right?
outputs from the
This is Steve Jones.
mixer into there, like
Steve
every
Jones
element.
is doing a great job. like to have a big round of applause for each other right now, so everyone out there who's listening knows that we have a full audience in here. All right? Put your hands together and just... Is this working? It's recording. Oh, I see. You got Mr. Microphone.
So the sound is coming to me. It's not coming out to the speaker anymore. So on my end, actually everything's fine, but literally just the PA, like it's not playing for everybody.
Hey Randy, that's coming through, so keep on speaking.
All right, I'm speaking, but I'm speaking into a dead mic. They can hear me out there, but nobody here can hear me unless I talk out here. All right, can they hear me if I just talk without the microphone until the microphone is possibly worked out?
Yeah, just put it on the stand though, just so we at least have it for the...
I'll get near it. All right, thank you all. First of all, I want to say thank you. I have a lot of notes here. We have not done this, all right, since the pandemic. A lot of us have not performed. I know the last time I performed was when I was called before the grand jury in the Mueller investigation. So it's been a long time. That was my last crowd. It's been a year and a half. And they were a tough crowd, I gotta tell you. All right, relax, folks. There's a rumor out there that's been going around for 100 years that the left is a dull lot and they don't have a sense of humor. All right, let's prove that to be wrong tonight. Today, this is not a rally. This is a comedy show for all the grunts out there that are listening today, all the grunts who've been out there, and I'm going to tell you where they are this week. This is the beginning of a lot of events this week for Assange. And it begins on the 13th, not the 13th, but the 23rd. 23rd in London. There's a big rally that starts at 1 o'clock. Anyone that can get there at 1 o'clock, I'm talking to people out there, all right? You guys have been eating all this great food, you know? The people out there in London or in, I know Craig Murray will not be there. Craig Murray, unfortunately, who John Kiriakou got the award from, the Sam Adams Award. By the way, before I mention all these names, let's talk about Craig Murray for a minute, because we know how fundamentally important he has been for Julian Assange. Those daily dispatches he will not be able to put out on the 27th and the 28th. And we know they don't want him to, so they got him on some trumped up bullshit charge. He's in there, and then today there's a big outbreak at the Edinburgh prison, a big outbreak of COVID. So he's in very bad danger at this point in time. Now, yesterday was his birthday, Craig Murray's birthday. I know Deepa Driver, you're watching this. I know you're recording this. So what we're going to do is a day late happy birthday for Craig Murray. So if you would join us, let's do this for Craig Murray. It's his birthday yesterday, but this is for a tape he's going to get tomorrow. All right, so let's give him a big happy birthday to Craig Murray for all of the great work that he has done. Craig Murray. Let's go, Maestro. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Craig Murray. Happy birthday to you. He's a great guy, Craig Murray. The real danger, and then before I mention this week, I better just say it. On the 23rd at 1 o'clock, go to the website Don't Extradite Assange, DEA, not Drug Enforcement Agency, DEA, Don't Extradite Assange.com, and look it up, get involved for next Saturday, the 23rd. We'll be doing something on the 24th. There's a lot of events here that Candles for Assange, Alex Hill sent me. Look at this. They're like hieroglyphics. I can barely read them. But what else did I want to say? Yes, this is not a fundraiser here today. This is just to like give some relief out there today for those who are out there. All right? It's like back in the 80s, we did what was called the, with William Kunstler and I organized this tour of Nicaragua called the U.S. OUT show, U.S. Out show. And we went from Matagalpa to Esteli to Managua to Niquinomo, San Juan del Sur one day. We played, this is with Barry Crimmins, this is with Jimmy Tingle. 5 comics went around. And we just entertained all what were called Sandalistas, which I was one of. And we didn't talk about the war too much. They just wanted some relief. And that's what we're doing today. This is not a rally. We want to, because no one has a better sense of humor that I've ever met than Julian Assange himself. Did you know that? Did you know that, John?
I just heard that a couple of days ago.
Yes.
Somebody mentioned it.
Yeah, well, John Pilger says, and by the way, he does a great impression of John Pilger. I know. I was there, he did it for me. I'm serious. If you don't believe me, go to the UC Global website and you will see that impression of Julian Assange doing it's a little square crowd tonight. Everybody's a little slow. You're not going to get one of those. I'm not going to be a depressing guy tonight. We're not a dull lot, all right? He's an incredible. I would have him here today. I would have Julian perform today. So on the 16th, I keep going off on these tangents. On the 16th, please, in London, show up at this rally, DEA. It's not DEA, don't extradite Assange.com. I hope to see you there. I won't be there because there's these rumors around that I took some pictures the last time I was in London at a trial. And it wasn't me, but I'm not going to go because I don't want to end up in the cell next to Craig Murray. Well, I'll tell you something. You know? I thought this was going to be like Rick's joint in Casablanca tonight. Everybody have a good fucking time. Relax. I know what it is. Nobody drinks here. I know. The guys that drink, you guys smoke pot and that's it. All right? I know this guy. I heard him. Like the word that he used more than anything coming up was the word ear. Right? Ear. Steve Johnson, the oldest joke in the world. Oh, it's too late now. I died the first 10 minutes. I've been stretching out here like I'm on a fucking plank on the Bounty right now. I'm going to keep it low. I will keep it low. That's Max over there. He's very close friends with Michael Isikoff.
Can you try the mic?
He and Isikoff work together. I don't know if you saw the...
Try the mic. Try the mic.
Oh.
Try the mic.
All right. I didn't begin. Where did I start? What? I'll start over again. I got time to burn. All right. Thank you. Welcome. We do have, the place is packed. I want to welcome everybody here, including the 40 undercover agents from the NSA, CIA, FBI, and the other 900 different organizations. They need money for the defense fund, okay? They need money for the defense fund. Now, there's a long URL that there's no way. In fact, you couldn't and you've been there, you couldn't put that to your, but just go to Stella Morris 1, okay? Right? This is you folks out there. These are a bunch of cheap son of a bitches, all right? They all got in on the arm, but you folks out there, Stella Morris, that's with one R, M-O-R-I-S, 1, on Twitter, all right? Stella Morris, Stella Morris, Stella, all right? So you spell that out, 1, and the right pinned is where you can donate money to the defense fund, because believe me, they need it. You know, they're facing the Justice Department here, the CPS there, all the funds that they have, all the money that they have. Do you realize if they would cut the funding of the prosecution of the DOJ, our fucking deficit would be cut in half? It takes a lot of time for this stuff to sink, seriously. But that's where, over here, millions, billions of dollars between the DOJ and Assange has got lawyers, he's got people doing research, it's a lot of work. I'm telling you, please donate. You folks today, we don't want anything, all right? This guy's he's paying me to work here. All right, Max gave me $20,000 if he could go on last, all right? He wants to close the show, but so do me a favor. That's Stella Morse one on Twitter. Go to that. It's the easiest way. Please, we got just 2 weeks left. 12, 13 days left before the 27th and 28th. When he goes before this, I don't know if he's going to be there. I don't know, but it's so depressing. They certainly aren't going to televise it. It's did you see the photos where he was like in a glass cage? All right, like Eichmann. Eichmann was in a glass cage. You look at Eichmann in 1960. He was in a glass cage. The only difference is Eichmann had access to his fucking lawyers, and Assange doesn't. He's got to do this, and it's just amazing. So they do need your support, and I hope that you will help out. This dog, by the way, Bianca. This is her first public appearance as well, since we went before the Mueller committee. And she was there as well, all right? But she's been there with Chuck Slatkin and Bernadette Evangelist. She's been there at your events in New York City. Look at this guy, he's asleep already. Been there for 5 minutes and I'm putting him to sleep. This is a serious case, sir. Guy's facing 160 years in prison for telling the truth. All right? Wake up, sir. Give him a cup of coffee. On me. And 3 shots of Bailey on him. All right? We have a lot of money to raise. I want to thank Chuck has been involved in this. My good friend Bernadette's been involved in it. And I want to thank you. Nathan Fuller out there. We pulled out. What did you do? She jumped out. That means she's got to pee. All right? Just let her go on the floor here. They won't mind.
Did you do that in the Mueller investigation?
There she goes. Jeannie Rhee actually walking. All right? All right. Somebody that knows Bianca. I think Margaret Ratner-Kunstler. No, oh, there she goes. It's a number 2. I'm sorry. This is a $5 million rug, and Fritchie's gonna lose her mind right now.
That's your first review.
Huh? All right, put her in. You want to put her in a cage? Oh, Jesus. She was gonna be the first speaker. I guess she's gonna be moved down the road here. Thank you. All right, but I think. What? She didn't do anything. She's 16 years old, all right? She's on 5 different meds. It was a nightmare drive from New York to here. Somebody said, take you 4 hours. It took 8 hours, all right? Seriously, traffic, the dog pissing everywhere. It was the worst road trip since the Donner Party tried to make it to California. All right. I've been doing this for a long time, comedy. So I worked some tough clubs in my life. This may be the worst of my zippers halfway around. I expect it. This guy's all dressed up for the John Brown event tomorrow. Show him that beard, man. Good luck tomorrow. Next time, don't take both of your kids. All right.
Bianca's room?
Yes, Bianca has her own room here. Here. Thank you, ma'am. Well, thank you. Oh my God, she was about to do some tricks for us. She's pissed off because I gave her apple today instead of the tenderloins you guys swallowed up. All right, you're good? So we get happy birthday. Oh, by the way, another guy I want to mention before don't worry, I'm going to mention all the places later on. Look, there's 3 pages. This week, I may as well get it out of the way. All right, here's what's happening this week. So we got that thing. All right, wait a second. On the 23rd, London, then Washington, D.C., and then Hobart, and then Toronto, and then Wellington, and then Los Angeles, and then Milwaukee. I can't believe it. And then Flaubert, or is that Flaubert? Flinsburg, where the fuck that is, Dublin. And then Sunday, New York. That's our comedy show next Sunday. And then back to D.C. I guess that's D.C. Metro. Thank you for all the hard work you guys do. D.C. Metro on the 25th. D.C. another one. And then San Francisco. And then Boston. And then it's Namur, wherever the hell that is.
We used to have a good group. All right, then we have on Tuesday the 26th, London again, that's DEA. We got London on the 27th, DC on the 27th, Warsaw. And then we have Vienna. We got Frankfurt, Hamburg, listen to this, Vienna, Schwerin, Wellington again, Mexico City, and then London, New York on the 28th, and DC. All right, give those people a round of applause. Big shout out to John Pilger. John Pilger, give a round of applause when he's watching. Big shout out to Stefano Marizzi. And a big shout out for Niels Melzer. How about one Niels Melzer? You don't know Niels Melzer. Where you live in Kentucky, of course not. You like the banjo. He doesn't play. Niels Melzer is a classical, you didn't know this, all right? He plays classic piano and he composes on the Assange Countdown to Freedom show. He's been on 9 or 10 times. He plays his own music and he sent something today that this great piano player, Steve Jones, can you play that? This is called Letting Go by Niels Melzer. Can you believe that? He sent this. All right, Steve Jones playing a little bit. Stand up, sir! The great Niels Melzer, thank you for everything. You talk about taking a lot of heat. Wyatt Reed's on the eventually today. There he is. Hi, Wyatt. Thank you for helping out with the sound. I know what you did. You messed it up first. You did a Richard Jewell. You messed it up, and they got you, and you fixed it. Thanks a lot, man. All right, so we're gonna. Is Naomi here? Is Naomi?
She just stepped out of the room.
She did? No, she's here, right?
She is here. She just stepped out of the room.
All right, well then I'll do my Bernie Sanders impression because... Naomi, 1 second. All right, well, I'll do it later. I know Max is upset about one thing. That he supports the Iron Dome. He saw he supports it, but that's, maybe I do. But that's only because we're going to give some aid to the Palestinians. We've got bandages, Band-Aids, some Mercurical, other things. We're going to send to the Palestinians in a big fucking box of chickpeas or garbanzo beans, whatever you want to call them. We'll send some technical advisors how to build wooden caskets. Well, you got to be serious and funny at the same time. Why doesn't it come out for Julian Assange? Because he exposed the fact that I actually won the primary. I should be sucking up to him. And I should thank him for that. All I did was cause me problems with the Democratic Party. I should be supporting because he's the one that exposed the fact that I'm losing the voice right now, beginning to sound like Jackie Mason. All right, so thanks a lot, Bernie, for not helping out with in AOC and all the other politicians who, hang out with James Clyburn, one of the great radicals of our time.
Right.
All right, but let's be honest. This weekend is also another great man's anniversary of an event that he kicked off tomorrow, 152 years, whatever it was, 1859, the great John Brown. So, that's right. I'm going to go out to Harper's Ferry tomorrow. See you at Harper's Ferry. Oh, glory, glory. Should I do Paul Wilson? I've done all my time. Yes, I know you like it. And Anya loves Paul Rose. Oh, glory, glory, my eyes have seen. All right. The stars sit up in heaven are looking kindly down on the soul of. All right, so John Brown, great man. Let's all work together out there, my folks. Bill Kunstler said it. in, what year was it? 1971, one day after the massacre of those 4 students at Kent State. Bill Kunstler showed up the next day, and he said, now this is getting serious, man. Everybody's got to work together right now. I don't care if you're with the Weathermen or the ACLU or the NAACP, LDF, everybody's got to get together to save Julian from going to prison in this fucking country. So let's all work together. It's, as John Pilgrim said, it's the end of freedom it becomes, and it becomes, well, you're going to talk about that. You're going to talk about what happens in that great courthouse where Daniel Hill was just sentenced to 48 months in prison for some AC. All right, I know you have to go. Naomi Carvani, are you here? I know I've seen her before. Not Max, but Lee Camp actually booked most of the acts. I said, I don't have any acts down there. So everyone that's been on, including me, has been on Redacted tonight, including Naomi. Carvani, she's wonderful, she's great. I've seen her on television, I've seen her doing stand-up, and we're going to kick it off with some laughs, because I know I had a hard time up here, but she won't. Remember, this is a comedy show. We're not all talking about Assange tonight. We're here to entertain, all right? So give Naomi a big round of applause.
Do you guys live in DC? Is this a DC crowd?
Yes.
It's a New York crowd. Okay. I'm sorry I asked that question. I shouldn't have opened that can of worms. I'm sorry about that. But it is interesting that a lot of drugs are legal in DC right now, right? Even though everybody has security clearances and can do them. It's a little bittersweet to me that all these drugs are legal now, because how do we know who's cool? I was cool because I drove a car on acid. I don't have other stories. What am I supposed to tell my grandchildren? They're gonna be like, okay, Grandma, there's psychedelics in our Flintstones. It's like, you did medicine for fun? Good for you. Yeah, because we're discovering all the medical benefits of all these drugs, we're not going to be able to tell children not to do them. You know, what is the DARE program going to be? You're just going to have a police officer walk into the classroom and he's going to be like, all right, kids, just talk to your doctor and find out if ketamine is right for you. Do you guys remember when recycling was supposed to save the planet? And then scientists were like, oh no, it's too late. But still, separate it. I'm glad I have 2 bins at home. I do, I'm proud to say. I'm glad we got rid of those straws, because that was the problem. But why don't we get rid of straws altogether? You know, why are we so afraid of spilling? You know, these substitutions, they're no good. The paper straws, they go limp. I'm like, am I doing this wrong? And then we have metal straws. Metal straws. I think that's really sending a message to these turtles. Like, we're gonna finish the job next time. And the mic just cut out. I'm being censored here. I don't appreciate it. Yeah, I've dated a lot of guys that thought that they could be professional athletes, no matter the body type. I'm like, I can throw a football better than you, Brian. I don't know what you're talking about. And yeah, it's actually not that good of a job to be a professional athlete, right? Because they're the only men on earth who really get what it's like to be a woman. They have until they're 30 years old. Maybe, if they're lucky. and then men are gonna stop caring about them. Yeah, right? This is the truth. Men are gonna start watching younger athletes. Maybe college athletes, and for some sick people, high school athletes. It happens. We both have an expiration date. Knees have the same shelf life as ovaries. It's over for both of us. Some men, I've had men who are like really offended by this joke. They'll come up to me after the show and they'll be like, "What about Tom Brady? He played until he was like 75. There goes your theory." All right, how much surgery has Tom Brady had? I'm just saying probably as much as Joan Rivers. And she's fucking dead. So, yeah, I know gender is a construct, but so are Tom Brady's knees. Okay? Yeah, am I the only woman who's weeping at the Super Bowl party? Because I realize as I'm watching, I'm thinking exactly what the players are thinking. I'm like, I better get that ring this year. As a comedian, I like to date funny guys. It's very important for them to make me laugh. So, I don't need somebody who's like really smart. I can appreciate spending an afternoon with a guy who's like struggling with self-checkout. That's something we can enjoy together. I could stand on the side, I could cheer him on, and be like, "Baby, don't worry, the machine said help is on the way." Yeah, I did. You did put it in the bagging area. I saw. You did. I was with like a really dumb guy for about 3 months because that's how long it took him to build my IKEA dresser. And I think about him sometimes when I try and open a drawer. I do. I played a trick on him. It was a little mean. I told him I like to have sex the way the IKEA manual says, like little Swedish Kama Sutra. And he opened it and he said, "Oh no, we need 2 men." Actually, you're right about that. Oh yeah. Can we get dirtier? That's it. Yeah, this is as political as my stand-up gets. So, any younger women in the house? Early 20s?
Yeah.
Medea Benjamin. Yeah, I've been in my early 20s once, and I noticed when you're that young, you just don't know your body that well. You just don't enjoy having sex. They're just pretending to. They're putting a smile on, being polite like they're at a potluck. They're just like, did you make this yourself? But when you get older, like I know precisely what I need to finish, like a vibrator in one hand, phone with hardcore porn in the other, while my feet are tied up and he's spanking me, calling me a dirty slut, pinching my nipple as the clock strikes 12 on the Uber ride home. Yeah, geez. That's the kind of response I expected. Jesus, Lord. I didn't know we were at church, but that's cool. Am I getting a light, or I'm
No.
All right, just go until I need to go. Okay. I got really good feedback when I was giving the blowjob recently. Thank you very much. He said, "Thank you." Yeah, and said, "I can tell that you just don't want to do this." And I was like, "Oh my God, he really gets me." I don't get these girls who like doing that. They like giving blowjobs. Like I have this one friend who says she likes to give head so she can feel the power over the man. I'm like, yeah, you're doing that wrong. That's a different position. And also, like, we tried that like, you know, getting power by giving head. We tried that for centuries. And it didn't work out for us, you know? Cheryl went out, she came back, and she's like, I'm so sorry, I was choking, but I didn't get that raise. I'm so sorry. Like, you gotta take a break from being feminist when you get on your knees and do that shit. Like, you gotta, like, clonk in, clonk out, right? That's what you gotta do. And this is why Hillary Clinton is such a feminist icon, because that great woman outsourced her blowjobs. Lee hates that joke. I think I want to leave now. Yeah, I think that's about 10 minutes.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Fuck, I never get that kind of applause. It was great. Thank you. You having a good time? All right. You can stay up if I give you 20% cut. All right. Thank you, Naomi. She's got other gigs. She's actually working tonight. So, a lot of costume parties. I went to a costume party yesterday, a Halloween party, and I saw Jim Sciotto and Jim Acosta there. They were in costume. They were dressed up as journalists. They really fooled me for a minute. Yeah, they both broke out of it. One was his flame, one was a Saks Fifth Avenue. They got, you never see those two guys in the same room together. You notice that? Anyway, Ari Melber was going to show up tonight, but he forgot to go to the dry cleaner early enough to pick up his hair. These are off the top of my head. They're not going to be. You think I use that a lot? Ari Melber. His three favorite people. You would think, John, you'd be one of them, or Jeffrey Sterling, but if he's going to have CIA guys on, it's going to be John Brennan, or it's going to be the other clown. They all have the same haircut. James Clapper, or the guy, Hayden. Those are the three guys. They all have the same shaved heads, you know what I mean? The Dr. Strangelove. Very scary. They're on Ari's show all the time, really. What a great, don't they just like, seriously, just like work over here at the CIA headquarters, some of those guys. Oh boy, this room got real. They want to hear more blowjob jokes, all right? I can't give those, all right? Jokes. Wait, I just got myself. All right, so, hello everybody out there. I hope you're having a good time. Just stepped in there. Where's Isaac? Is he here? Oh, Isaac showed up. Well, let's see if I make it to 71 days of sobriety tomorrow.
I support you.
I know. I'm supporting you guys. Isaac and I are very good friends. He worked at Drug Policy Alliance for many years and helped out. Well, we did a lot of work. The Consular Fund, we did a lot of work. They supported our, yeah, I know it's Soros, but I know Amy Good. You want to say, let's not open up that. Really. We're all working together now, right?
That's right.
All right. Soros. All right. I know what he did when he was young. All right. I know they named it. All right. He named some names, but he's a good guy. Just like Vanita Gupta's father, as the head of the biggest chemical next to Dow. Vanita Gupta's third line at the DOJ. Seriously, it's true. I met her in Tulia, Texas. She came in a golden parachute, her father gave. And she said, this looks like it's going to win. I'd like to be one of the lawyers. So I said, go ahead. And now that she got a lot of publicity, she's third in line, and guess what? She has not spoken out. She's allowing this to happen at the DOJ right now. Remember that name, Vanita Gupta. Please, Vanita Gupta CR at Twitter. Please send her a tweet and let her know that we're watching, because if Assange is indicted, or has been indicted, or extradited and sent to Colorado, then that will wipe out everything she ever reaped from Tulia. Seriously. All right, that's my serious talk. We're going to bring up right now Margaret Ratner Kunstler. Before I do, she's the one that got me involved with Assange. 2016, I was doing a couple of shows a week at WBAI, and I had to do an added one. And I said, I never asked her, but she'd been visiting Assange with Michael Ratner. She knew him very well. She was part of the legal apparatus or whatever with Michael. She did a lot of stuff. And so she said, don't ask me. I said, please. And so she did. 2 years later, we were both involved in the Russiagate scandal because of it. All right? Roger Stone said that I get stuff, right? As if Julian Assange is going to take all of this great stuff and say, gee, instead of surprising everybody, let me give it to Roger Stone. I'm going to give it to Roger Stone. Here, I got all this great stuff here. I'm going to give it to Roger Stone because I know he'll keep it to himself. Here, Roger. Right. Such a stupid premise. People bought it. But Margaret, she worked, she's the president of the Kunstler Fund when we were at Tulia against the Rockefeller drug laws. We did a lot of stuff for 7 years, getting people out of prison. She took on 40 cases of those who were resentenced, got out of prison. She's done stuff quietly for 40 years. Margaret Ratner Kunstler just visited Julian Assange. Let's hear from her.
I got to visit Julian and Craig in the same week. And it was a remarkable experience, and they're both doing quite well. And they told me to say hello to everybody I saw afterwards and give their love, and they're feeling very supported, and they're feeling okay. You know, they're both in odd situations. I mean, Craig is in jail because of Julian. You know, Craig is one of the only people who blogs successfully about Julian. I mean, it's an incredible situation that that they had to cut Craig off because people were actually reading what he had to say about every day that Julian had in the courtroom. So you know, I'm a little schizophrenic here because I swing between chilling indifference and character assassination, and there's nothing else in between my experience with Julian in the press. I'm concerned, but I recently read the superseding indictment, and let me tell you that it is now nothing. It is a piece of shit. It has nothing in it that is criminal. It has nothing in it that has any basis in fact. There's nothing in it. So now that the US government has realized that they have nothing in it, their new position is, okay, anybody who says something bad about the United States government, no matter where they are in the world, is guilty of espionage. That's their response to the whole thing. I mean, it's absolutely incredible what's happening. What other good news do I have?
You gotta laugh, more than me.
Dan Hale went to Marion today.
To Marion?
Yes. That's not good. It's not good at all. I don't know. We're letting things happen in this country that we shouldn't be let happening, and I don't know how we can get up and stop it. But I know that we are who we are, and we have to keep talking about it and keep fighting. Because if we don't fight the good fight, there'll be nobody left to fight the fight. And I mean that very seriously. We're at a very dangerous situation in this country, and it's going to take every one of us fighting to achieve anything here. I have absolute faith that Julian will be successful. I mean, I tell myself that every night because his indictment is bullshit. What he's saying, what was being said for him in the London courtroom is absolutely accurate, and there's no basis to extradite him. But I don't know what's going to happen. But I have confidence somehow that he won't be extradited, and I believe that because I'm a lawyer, and if I didn't believe that, I'd have to give up totally. So thank you very much for listening to my great humor.
Wow, that's right. So keep working at it. Go to Stella, M-O-R-I-S-1 on Twitter. Put money out there, please, right now. We must. This is so critically important. And then next Saturday at 1 p.m. in London, we need to get the asses of the masses on the street, so everybody show up at all of these events, but beginning on the 23rd in London. Don't extradite Assange.com. All right, sorry for that. At any rate, where are you going, man? You're gonna go get her autograph, Margaret Thatcher Country, because she got more last. It's all right. It's all right. I paid for this microphone, Mr. Green. That's like Reagan. I used to do Reagan in front of the U.S. Embassy in Managua. We called it Bates Motel back in the 80s. And I used to do my act. We went down there, all those comics. I did my act every Thursday after staying out all night at a fucking place called the Mau Mau, drinking unfermented rum, silver. Go to bed at 6, wake up at 7, and go in front of the embassy and do my Reagan. Yes. That's where yes. Okay. I did it on the Tonight Show. I did my Reagan on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. I was doing great until I made fun of Gene Kirkpatrick. All I said was, every time you take a look at Gene Kirkpatrick, you have to ask yourself seriously, did Eva Braun die in that bunker in 1945? Yeah, well, that was it for me. The Sandinistas have done it again. They've invaded Honduras, and I have a photograph that bears me out. Well, it's not exactly a photograph, it's a shadowgraph. As you can see, the guy with the duck head is Daniel. Anyway. All right, so we have more comedy, and John's gonna get up here and read from that great menu. You just were in Greece, right?
Yeah.
That's great. That was quick. That's great. No, as long as you keep drinking, Dave, the manager's been so great. He and Friction, they're really great people here. It's, by the way, this is owned by the employees, this place. You think we go anywhere else? No? Fritchie Coleman is the matriarch here. I remember, we came here and she told me a story and she finished it last night. That was the longest story, Fritzy, that you told me about Jimmy Cagney, but I loved it. She said, would you do Jimmy Cagney tonight? I said, yes. You know this one? Oh, never mind, I'm not going to do it. I used to do it in my act in Las Vegas when I was that guy, I don't know, would you check his pulse, please? I'll do my Pat Roberts saying, Steve, this is not a wake or a shipwreck. There are rebels in El Salvador, freedom fighters in Nicaragua. That's what you Pat Roberts. He's so close to God. How come God doesn't fix that fucking neck in there? All right. That was Reagan. That's what I used to do. You see, my act is fucking dead. I used to do Bush back then, right? We are not at war with the people of Iraq. We are at war with the Iraqi people. You remember how long it took us to get to that war, that first, what was it, Desert Storm? He tried everything. He said, we're doing this for oil. You can't use that one. Okay, to protect our way of life, please. Bring back democracy to Kuwait. Oh, come on. Oh, I got it. He's like Hitler.
Use it!
He's like Hitler. He's going into Poland. Saddam Hussein. He could never say his name. Whatever his name is, Saddam Hussein. Whatever. Fuck him. Reagan would have got us right into that war. He would have said, he would have just waved the flag and said, let's go. Let's go. All right. And of course, George Bush. I'll show you to George Bush there. Young lady in pink. I'll show you to Republican National Convention. We're trying to fight cicadas. America is fighting against cicadas. There's cicadas everywhere. Americans. Great, yeah. Gotta protect your freedom, I gotta hide your freedom. Watch out, cicadas are gonna take your freedom away. We gotta protect it, we gotta cut down those redwoods because they're hiding behind the freedom. They're all bad, man. I just stopped doing the presidents, all right? I used to do Rudy Giuliani 5 years. You know his shoulders are now above his head? He looks like a fucking oyster. Maybe you're eating one of those oysters tonight, those fried oysters. All right. All right. The biggest problem is there's still a lot of black kids running around Midtown. After 3 o'clock in the afternoon, they're still there. Got the Italian mayor, de Blasio. You ever seen a 7'5" Italian? I'm Italian-American. That fucker's not Italian. You know, the only time I see that tall is somebody that's from like Montenegro that moved to Italy and played for the basketball team. He's Italian, yeah. Right, de Blasio Italian. Right. I know the real story. All right, I want to get into it. All right. You get pissed at me. Stay with us, man. You guys, I know you're just waking up, Gabriel Shipton. All right? It's like, what is it? It's like, we'll do the whole thing from the beginning. No, it's 11 o'clock in the morning in Sydney. And Mr. John Shipton, how are you? You're all doing a great job. And we're going to continue. Thank you. And we're going to bring up this other guy. Guess what? He's been on Redacted Tonight. Who hasn't? His name is and you know, Lee said this guy is hilarious. I saw him once again, like, I know, maybe the guy was hilarious. I said, bring him down. And here he is, man. Please say hello to Jaffer Khan.
Thank you. Keep it going for Randy. I know I'm young as hell because he was like he's like, here's my impression of George Bush, and he did it. I was like, that's not what George Bush sounds like. What is he talking about? That's a joke about George W. Bush. It's a great start. It's nice to be doing comedy in the nicest place I've ever been allowed inside. This is really worker owned. Damn, that's awesome. I was getting ready to like really make fun of this place, but damn, that is fucking cool. It is worker owned. I didn't know worker owned things could be nice. That is amazing. That is a hell of an accomplishment. That gives me hope for the future. This could be the revolution? No. Really? Alright, fucking cool. That's a good revolution. I like it. It's good to be here. I'm on Redacted now. Things are going better for me. I used to be a teacher back when I was living in Houston, and I loved it. I was a public high school teacher, but eventually, you know, I left. I got tired of, clap it up. Clap it up for me used to be, clap it up for me getting chewed up and spat out by the system. I used to be a teacher. You know, I loved it, but eventually I just got tired of, you know, making a difference or whatever, and I quit to do selfish things like this. This is actually the one time I'm not being selfish, doing the thing that I love doing, which is comedy. But I did enjoy. I taught high school. I taught government, and my favorite day. You know, it was weird. It's like a lot of, you know, lies, but then occasionally I would go rogue. You know, I'd go rogue once a month. I had to keep my job, so But my favorite day every year was every September 11th. Because, look, if you're laughing before the punchline on that, those are racist laughs, okay? I'm clocking that in as racism, okay? No, I enjoy, because, like, you know, I wanted, like, because teenagers today, they don't have any memory of 9/11. To them, it's like boring history, you know, which is kind of crazy to us. Yes. So I wanted to just, you know, show them. It wasn't me being like, I was telling the truth about 9/11. It wasn't like that. It was just like, I wanted to make it like an emotional thing like it is for us. So what I did, I found a website that archives the news. Every news channel, every main news channel, every day. And so I went back to see if they have September 11, 2001. And they did. So I would take my students through the same day we all went through the eyes of the news, which is basically what we went through, like watching the news all day. And, you know, it worked. It made it, I could see that for the first time they felt some real connection to this. And I remember in one of my classes, we had just watched this video, this clip of this woman in New York. She was crying, she saw someone jump off a building, and she was crying, she couldn't handle it. And one of my students, she was so affected by this, she turns to me, she has tears in her eyes. She goes, "Mr. Khan, why did they do this to us?" And I was like, well, that is a hell of a question, Megan, for a C student. How are your two questions all year? Can I use the bathroom and why did 9/11 happen? That's not fair to Mr. Khan, okay? That's not a fair learning curve for the teacher. I was like, because like you can't. Again, I'm supposed to be apolitical as a government teacher, and how do you not be political about why did 9/11 happen? I was like, well, Megan, I can tell you our president at the time, he said they did this to us because they were jealous of our freedoms. She was like, huh? I was like, yeah, I know. That's what a lot of us said. Huh? No one really questioned that. They let that slide. They were jealous of our freedom. Who was jealous of our freedom? Al-Qaeda? A criminal organization living in a lawless country? We should be jealous of their freedom. They have the freedom. They can do what the fuck they want, right? They have child brides. I'm not pro-child brides. Just like booing child brides. I agree, they're bad. I'm saying they have too much freedom. They have freedom. So yeah, why did 9/11 happen? And then I realized, you know, actually, this is not a difficult question to answer. Why did 9/11 happen? Because Osama bin Laden, the man who did do 9/11, he told us why he did it to us several times. Anyone remember what he said?
Bases.
Yeah, no, don't answer the question. Got this room. Okay, I forgot my audience. Okay, usually I perform for, you know, idiots. So my comedy is written for idiots. I asked that, of course, this fucking jerk code pink gray zone. Well, yeah, why did I ask that question? That was my fault. Sorry for snapping. No, you're gonna ruin the ending to my bit. How am I gonna do this bit? I'm not used to this. I'm used to performing at comedy club. Oh, damn it. Yeah? Okay, that's what happens. Speak the truth, you know. No, this is gonna be different. You know, I'm used to performing at comedy clubs in front of like, you know, drunk racists, or like cool indie art galleries for liberal drunk racists. I mean, y'all could be racist. I don't know. Who knows? Yeah. 9/11. Okay. Normally, I'm like, does anyone? Here's how the bit normally goes. I go, does anyone remember what he said? And then this is literally the only time a corner. Y'all started listing the reasons. Usually, it's complete silence, and then I say, I'm like, yeah, no one knows, and that is why the American spirit will never be defeated. Because the American spirit is too stupid to be defeated, right? It's like, have you ever played poker against someone who's never played poker before? It's like surprisingly frustrating. You're like, how do you have so many chips? That's a Uno card, bro. Like, what is happening right now? You can't strategize against stupid, right? You can't defeat dumb. It's impossible. If you're fighting like some moral war, like, damn. Like, can you imagine how frustrated Osama bin Laden must have been? the day after 9/11, right? He spent years, he's been angry at what the U.S. has done to the Middle East for decades. He's like, you know what, I'm gonna rob Americans of their ignorance. I'm gonna show them that their government's foreign policy has consequences. So he orchestrates this insane attack. He pulls it off, and the international community is in shock. And America, our collective reaction is just, yeah, well, he's probably just jealous. What are you talking about? I'm not jealous. I told you why. I didn't hear the reasons. Read them. It's not that long. This is why I did it. But did he even do it? Who knows who did it? I did it! What is wrong with you people? I heard Bush did it. All right, fuck you. That's a low blow. Yeah, this bit really, I don't know how I'm gonna do the rest of this bit. It really hinges on no one knowing shit about anything. That's all my comedy. I was telling Lee about it. All my comedy is very adversarial. Like, I write comedy for my enemies, and here I am. Like, I was like, yeah, we agree with this. I'm not used to this. Is this comedy? This can be comedy? Yeah. This is what I do. I tell audiences, I'm like, all right, I go, listen, go home. When you go home or the next morning, I tell them, look it up. Look up the reasons. Take the time. Think of the comedian. Look at the reasons Osama bin Laden gave for why he's going to attack the United States. If you read those reasons, one thing you'll notice about some of those reasons is that some of those reasons are pretty good. Pretty good. Some of them, okay? I know the brownest person in the room, but shouldn't be pointing this out, the most Muslim-ass motherfucker. But white comedians don't point it out, so I have to. I don't want to be the 9/11 comedian. I don't want to carry this burden, but I have to. I can talk about dating. It is weird, but I'm 9/11 guy, I guess, because no one else wants to. You know? Yeah, kind of a reasonable critique on American foreign policy. Weird. Who would have thought that guy? Crazy, huh? Look, I'm not co-signing his methods. I don't know how radical this room is, but I'm not co-signing his methods. I'll put it this way. All right, if I was in a room with Osama bin Laden 21 years ago, 25 years ago, whatever, and he was giving like a PowerPoint presentation on everything he was about, I would probably be on board just until that last slide. Right? I'd stop in the middle and be like, bro, I don't know who you are, but you're making a lot of interesting points right now. All that stuff you said about America's blind support of Israel, about America's blind support of India and the Kashmir, about the Clinton administration's sanctions in the 90s that killed 500,000 Iraqi children. Oh my God, bro, I gotta ask you right now, what's our plan, dude? What are we gonna do about this? Are we gonna phone our senators? Are we gonna go phone banking? How are we gonna grab the levers of democracy? You know what? I'm being rude. You go ahead. Sorry. What are we gonna do? Go. I'm leaving. Cool. I'm leaving. Please don't tell anyone I was here. They're gonna make my life more difficult in the future for doing this. Yeah. Then okay. Normally this doesn't go that well, and I have a last bit that I only do half the time, but I'll do it here. So one more thing about 9/11 is the other thing that most Americans don't question is why he chose the World Trade Center as a target. Like Pentagon, White House, it's pretty obvious, but World Trade Center, you know, there's other buildings in New York he could have selected, but he chose the World Trade Center because it's the World Trade Center, right? It's the seat of American global finance, extracting wealth from the rest of the world through corporate imperialism. Osama bin Laden was an anti-capitalist, just like me and you. Yeah, he might have been in this room tonight. He probably would have spoken at this thing, you know? Everyone would have loved him. He would have done well. Who would have done well in DC? 6'6" Arab with passions in this room would have crushed it, right? He would have done very well. Yeah. So 9/11 was a gesture. I guess it was more than a gesture. It was a purely symbolic. Okay, it was an attack. It was a move that was anti. It was against capitalism. It was anti-imperialist, and it was anti-neo-colonialism in the Muslim world. So all I'm saying is that if you take 9/11 and you take out the senseless loss of American life, if you take that part out, then 9/11, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that he took down the World Trade. Okay, if you take out the loss of American life, Assange benefit, I'm losing y'all. If you take out the senseless loss of American life, then is it even terrorism or is it just the ending to Fight Club? Right? The credit card bill, the finance towers falling down, and we're all like, damn, good movie. Osama bin Laden was like, great movie. And it's an inspiring movie. All right, that's it for me. Thank you so much. Y'all are great.
I could never get away with that last 5 minutes. Yeah, very funny, very funny. 9/11. As long as you don't talk about Building 7, that's one thing.
Right.
People come near me, do you know about Building? Get the fuck away from me. But I don't care, I don't want to talk about it. Building 7, please, I don't want to talk about that and vaccines. Stay the fuck away from me. I have my opinions, but I'm not going to get engaged in that conversation. You know? It's like, I don't give a shit who burned down the Reichstag in 1933. All right? I don't care if it was Vanderloop or fucking Goring. The fact is, they had major repression right afterwards. What am I going to... Imagine Victor Laszlo saying to Bogart in Casablanca, who do you think burnt it down? It was like 8 years later. What the fuck? Who cares at this point? They're in power, right? Give me a kiss to build a dream on. All right. Oh, that was Kish. No, what's the one that from Casablanca? I used to do this. Remember this? A kiss is still a kiss. A shine is still a shine. This is Profizzi. The fundamental things apply as time goes by. All right? James Mason, unless you love his spoon. I still say, that's for the older people in this room. That's what I used to do in Vegas in 1975, all right? I did impressions back then. And I don't know anything about, that's the irony of this, how I got involved with this whole thing with you guys and Julian. I was like, I'm a fucking Luddite, man. I know nothing about code, none of it. Seriously. I mean, I still have 2 AOL accounts. RandyCredico.com, Credico.org. Those are my 2 main fucking accounts. I've had them for 25 years. Gmail would be a major, giant step into the future. When Bill Finney's talking about tap lines, I'm thinking Eleanor Powell, and I'm thinking of Bill Bojangles Robinson. All right? Tap lines. Gold Diggers of 33, the Ruby Keeler. That's tap lines. You know who that was. Got 9 people know who Ruby Keeler is. Am I fucking dated or what? She was married to Alan Jolson. You didn't know that? All right, and she wanted me to do Yankee Doodle Dandy. What are they all the time?
Woo, yeah.
I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy. Yankee Doodle do or die. I can't do that. I'm the kid with all the candy. I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy. I used to do that in Vegas. That was 75, 76. I did those impressions way back when. They're all dead. My actor's fucking dead and involved. Including Biden. Biden has been dead for 10 years now. He's got a tape up his ass that simulates breathing, all right? Edward Bergen couldn't fix that fucking mouth to work, all right? He has, the guy needs a cue card to say hello. Hi, Mr. Biden. Hello. All right, that's it. By the way, there's another birthday this week, Henry Kissinger. On Sunday, he'll be 400. All right? Can't believe that guy's still alive. I'm like 400 years old, you can't kill him. He's still alive. Made a great deal with the devil. He's still fucking alive. Seriously. There's not enough room in hell for him. Seriously. Nixon saying you're gonna need a lot of space for him, saying you're gonna have to stretch it out. Well, some people do. Look at that funny. I do a thing about 9/11. I get it up here and stretch out again. It's easy. That was great. You got great. All right, so we have a couple more speakers, and that would be Max Blumenthal. And then we got the headliner, Lee Camp, who won't say he's the headliner, but you get to close the show. All right, I know you're humble about it. That's nice, but I'm not following you. All right. But the guy whose name I can finally pronounce. All right. Who knows what Julian faces out here in Alexandria, Virginia, and he's been all over the place, seriously. He's already done 17 radio shows today, including his own. You're the busiest guy I know. Who's your agent?
People think I'm successful.
I know. You are successful. You got a lot of books out. I know you're a hero. You're another John Kerry who won the Sam Adams Award in 2016. I remember because Craig Murray was there to give it to you. Give it up for John Kerry.
Not funny. I will tell you one aside that Jafar Khan reminded me of. You know, we sometimes get overwhelmed with world events and we think how bad situations are, how bad our foreign policy is. But I want to tell you a true story. The day before we invaded Iraq in 2000, what was it? 2003. February 2003. I was, or March, I think.
It's a leap year.
Yeah, I was the executive assistant to the CIA's deputy director, and everybody was busy, right? We're going to invade Iraq tomorrow. So George Tenet asked me to be the note taker in it's called a CIVETS, a secure video teleconference. George was the CIA director at the time. And so I went into the secure video room with him. He sat at the head of the table. I was immediately behind him. And there are all these big screens, right? So Dick Cheney's on one, he's chairing the meeting, and Condi Rice is on one, and Colin Powell's on one, and it's all the big muckety-mucks in Washington. And Cheney asked the head of CENTCOM, General somebody, I don't remember his name anymore, to give us a briefing, an update on how things stand. And he says, well, Mr. Vice President, we have elements of this division are here on the map, and the 3rd Corps is here, and we're going to move like this, and this guy is going to come down. And then he said, if all goes as planned, we can be in Tehran by August. And we're sitting there. And then George discreetly turns off his microphone, and he turns to me and he says, did he say Tehran? Or did he say Baghdad?
He said Tehran.
He said Tehran.
I said Tehran, yeah.
And he says, have these people lost their fucking minds? And then he leaned forward and turned the microphone back on. I got back to the office, and the deputy director said, how'd the meeting go? And I said, did you know we're going to invade Iran? And he said, ooh, yeah, they've been talking about that for a while. But it didn't go as planned for us in Iraq. So, you know, maybe we should celebrate the fact that we fucked that up. Some good news. Yeah, so I'm trying my best. As I said, I'm not funny, and the topic that Randy wanted me to talk about is decidedly not funny. I have to tell you, my heart has been racing since Margaret said that Daniel Hale was sent to America. And I just now looked it up on the Bureau of Prisons website. This is very, very bad. He was supposed to be sent to Butner, North Carolina, low security prison. Marion is a maximum security penitentiary. It's one of our 2 supermaxes. This is inexplicable to me. But this is what Julian Assange would be subjected to if he were to be extradited to the United States. And let's talk about these supermaxes for a minute, too. You know, when I got out of prison in 2015, just after I got out, there was a feature in the New York Times Magazine about daily life in an American supermax. And what they said was, just as an example, there was one prisoner in there who had been in solitary confinement for 23 years. 23 years with no human contact. You know, other than a steel slot opening and somebody putting in a disgusting, inedible meal. Niels Melzer at the United Nations has told us repeatedly that anything more than 15 days in solitary confinement is a form of torture. Right? We know from the American Psychological Association that people begin to lose their minds after 30 days in solitary. This prisoner that they featured in the New York Times Magazine was so desperate for human contact that he was able to finally smash the little tiny window in his cell and eat the glass just so that he could be taken to a hospital and he could speak to another human being. When you receive mail in a maximum security penitentiary, you're not allowed to physically receive the mail. What they have is a screen, a TV or a monitor out of reach at the top of the ceiling, and they'll inform you you have mail. They'll put your mail on the screen for 5 minutes, and then it disappears. And that's it. You don't see it again. That's your 5 minutes of mail. You're allowed, depending on the facility, 1 or 2 showers a week, no longer than 20 minutes, and you're observed while you're taking the shower. You're allowed 1 phone call a month, but it can only be to your attorney. It can't be to a family member, a loved one, a child, nothing. This is what Julian Assange is facing. Sometimes we get wrapped up in the day-to-day, you know, we gotta get him out, we've gotta condemn the conditions that he's being held in Belmarsh, but we've gotta win. Because if we lose, I don't know how any human being can make it. And like we heard a few minutes ago too, what is espionage? If you're not an American, how can you be guilty of treason against the United States? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. But the definition that's being used by the Justice Department of espionage is, I'm embarrassed to say, it was the definition that where the precedent was set in my case. It's providing any national defense information, which is not defined, any national defense information to any person not entitled to receive it. That means that every national security journalist in the world that writes about the United States is liable to be charged with espionage and to spend the rest of his or her life in prison. It's just not, it's not realistic. It's not doable. But there's nobody in our government that has the guts to stand up and say it's wrong. And when I say government, I mean including on Capitol Hill. I thought that I had a supporter in Ron Wyden, the Democratic senator from Oregon who sits on the Senate Intelligence Committee. And in the end, Ron Wyden did nothing for me, nothing. And I confronted him one time at a reception, and he was very defensive, like immediately. As soon as I went up to him and I said, "Hey, Senator, I thought, you know, maybe I could count on you. I thought maybe you'd help me out." And he says, "Look, it takes all of my energy just to not lose my security clearance."
Wow.
And I said, "Really? That's what it comes down to for you? You're that afraid of that? Tell them to shove the security clearance up their asses, right? I mean, doesn't somebody have to come out and say something and do something?"
Right.
But with that said, there's been some good news lately. And the good news is that the Justice Department's chief witness against Julian is a convicted pedophile and embezzler and admitted liar, and they've got nothing. Can you imagine putting a convicted pedophile on the stand and saying, "Here's our star witness, Your Honor," even though he's forced himself onto 14-year-old boys and stole money from from WikiLeaks and lied that he even really knew Julian, except for a couple of meetings. He's the one that's going to do our testimony for us. So, you know, I think, I'm not a lawyer, but I think things are looking pretty good. We've got to keep up the fight. The fight looks winnable. Julian's got amazing lawyers. I think I've met 30 or 40 of them.
That's 10% of it.
I know, right? But the thing is they're all brilliant.
Yes.
And these aren't people that are just hanging on. These are serious lawyers all over the place. Washington, New York, London, Australia. These are people who know what they're doing, and they've been incredibly patient. But they understand what he's going through. We all understand what he's going through. So let's keep up the fight. We're just about there.
Yep.
Well, that really cheered me up. Every time I get up, there's 2 ladies. I'm kidding, I'm joking. John Kiriakou, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ray.
What can I say? Is this yours? You really don't want me near this thing, right? A drop is too much, and an ocean's not enough. Hey, I'm Randy, I'm an alcoholic, all right? Oh, wrong meeting. That's at midnight tonight. All right, what else? So, that's amazing, that time, you know, in those jail cells. It's just terrible. Yeah, I mean, Julian Assange, I've been there, you know, hung out with the guy 3 times I was there, and he's the gentlest guy in the world. He's not a threat, not a danger to anybody, except for those who are a danger to everybody.
Yes.
That would be the CIA, that would be the NSA. They're dangerous. If they want to keep Julian Assange quiet, then no one, stop doing the shit that you do. That's all. Stop doing it. All right? Stop supporting the bombing of those in Yemen. Stop supporting coups in Honduras. Stop the torture. You know, if you want to just put an end to Julian Assange's career, then just stop what the fuck you're doing. All right. You mentioned Bill Clinton over there. Who did that? Boy, he looks terrible, doesn't he? He really looks terrible. I did a lot of good things, looking back. I executed a man who was missing his brain. That was good. Billy Ray Rector starved 500,000 people to death. Dropped bombs on civilians in Belgrade. Great career. All right. My wife could have been even better. All right, yes. It was Julian's fault that Trump won. Now, you know why? Because he's the one that gave a map to the Clinton campaign that left out Wisconsin and Michigan. It was Julian that did that.
Right.
If he hadn't done that, then Hillary would have won. And we would have had another Joe Biden. Now, what's the difference? All right, so let's just keep moving along. 4 years ago, I think it was, I was over at Anya and Max's house, and I was invited to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. You remember that?
I remember.
Michael Isikoff invited me. That's why I've been so soft on those
I thought
guys.
you were Nancy Pelosi's date.
Right. I got in, I went to the Yahoo News party. I had 9 martinis. They were on the house, Grey Goose martinis. They had no idea. I was hanging out with Adam Schiff was there. I'd like to meet you in person someday. All right, sure. All right, so anyway, we're all going to hang out afterwards. Go Max and the other woman that worked at the RT at the time with you, Anya, Helene, whatever. We're all going to go out partying afterwards, except for I fucked it up by going in front, right in the middle. I was sitting next. I moved over with Jeff Weaver, Bernie Sanders' campaign manager. I moved over to the CNN with Kate Bottoman over here. That guy with the teeth, Chris Shalisha. The guy Chris Shalisha talks like that. And Joe Johns and somebody else. So I was whacked out of my mind, and I went in front of the stage. I said, "Why are they giving this crew a fucking award? They should give it to Julian Assange. He should get I'm right in the middle of the stage." The next thing you know, I was dragged the fuck out of there. No one even looked at me. I was dragged out. I feigned a heart attack. They still dragged me out. I was dragged right on that. It was Jack Nicholson from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He just pulled me the fuck out of there. So I snuck back in, and then they put me in handcuffs. We didn't get to go to the party that night, Max, I know. At MSNBC, hang out with Rachel Maddow, but she was too busy getting her paycheck from James Clapper at the time. So, at any rate, Max wrote about it, and that was it. Way back, 2018. But a few months earlier, I went to your birthday party, 2 years of sobriety, and that was some party. Yes. At any rate, he's one of the greatest journalists around today, as is Anya. They're both with the Gray Zone. How about a round of applause for the Gray Zone? He doesn't need an introduction. He's going to bring up lead captain's dad, Matt Blumenthal. Give it up.
Yeah. My journalist tonight. I remember Randy coming back. He was staying at my place, and I had to, it was rough. I had to like put him in full restraint after that. He was bad, but heroic move by Randy. Randy has been a warrior, a soldier for Julian Assange. Give it up for Randy. He's been a soldier for all the whistleblowers, Justin Sterling. He's been a soldier for Daniel Hale. He has been a soldier for Craig Murray, who's now in jail for jigsaw identification. Yeah, he did like a puzzle wrong or something. What the fuck is jigsaw identification? Have you ever heard of that shit? I mean, what is that? It's called embarrassing the British national security state. That's what it is. That's what everybody's getting penalized for, the US, the UK. Am I a comedian tonight or a journalist? I don't know, these are hard acts to follow. I'm not a professional comedian. I can't memorize stuff like Naomi and Lee. They're like, and Jaffer, they're on. Jaffer, did like 9/11 is good. I don't know how to say anything more extreme than that. Like, I can't be any more transgressive than that. I guess I'll just talk about how much I hate the media and I hate what's going on today. I just had like a lot of hate. And the only thing that I don't know, my hate is pure. and I hate the motherfuckers that gathered in this room in 2016, 5 years ago, to have the Steele dossier disseminated to them in this very room. That is where the Steele dossier was presented to the mainstream media. CNN was here, the New York Times was here, Yahoo News was here. You know who Yahoo News is. Isikoff was invited tonight, he didn't want to come. I wish he was sitting right there. And then they proceeded to disseminate a gigantic lie based on a paid, hired mercenary spook, The Guardian too, a hired mercenary spook to the American public. And credit to Isikoff, because he's at least said and done something for Julian, but the rest of them haven't. And what has WikiLeaks done? What has Julian Assange done? They have never passed a false document on to the press. They have never committed a single error. Everything that WikiLeaks has ever said has been proven to be true, verified, authenticated, and Julian Assange is in prison for that. And these reporters are still out there working. Professional liars disseminating the deceptions of a paid mercenary British spook paid by the Clinton campaign.
Yep.
That says it all about the media, is what happened here. What transpired. I have to have notes because I'm not like the pros. My baby's here. Give it up for my baby. Yeah. She's always being passed from one person to another person. The crazy thing about my baby is that, you look at her, she looks a lot like me. She has red hair, blue eyes. She's a beautiful white baby. But my wife is a racially ambiguous brown woman. That's her. Everyone thought when Jody was holding her that Jody was because she looks so much like her. But it's Anya, the brown woman back there. Where my brown people at? Yeah! It was crazy. Well, when I saw her being born, and it was like me coming out of my wife. It was so trippy. It's like, this is the most surreal. This is like a Magritte painting in real life. And then I sent a picture of my beautiful white baby over to Tucker and his producers because I wanted to make sure I could go back on the show that they would know that we weren't going to replace him. You know, the Proud Boys were like, the Jews will not replace us. Like, what are we going to replace you with? First of all, we're only like 3% of the population, and you're just a bunch of chronic masturbating gamers who don't even work. What are we going to replace you with? Though we're not going to replace the Goyim, don't worry. But Tucker is an interesting person. Tucker Carlson is the only person in the mainstream media who says anti-establishment shit, at least on cable news. He really is. I mean, that is how fucked up the mainstream media is right now. That Tucker Carlson is the only one. He'll be like, we need to throw our bodies on the gears of inhumanity and seize the means of production. And I'll be like cheering, I'll be like, go Tucker, go for it, man. And then he'll be like, and that's why we need to round up the Mexicans. Oh man, come on, Tucker. Like, we were almost there, man. Like, we almost had you. And he's fearless, he'll say anything, he doesn't care. I guess that's where a lot of the American public is, you have to admit it. So Tucker is the only one who will do anything for Julian Assange in cable news. He had Roger Waters on. I mean, props to Tucker for doing that. What did Chris Hayes do? What did Rachel Maddow impersonator and Harry Potter / middle-aged Bob Big Boy mascot Chris Hayes ever do for Julian Assange? Right. Chris Hayes, today we're going to talk about the Build Back Better. Like, who gives a fuck? That's why your ratings are shit. Ari Melber. He would say stuff for Assange only because Randy forced him. Randy's really good at forcing the issue. But now it's just like his entire purpose in life is to destroy 90s hip hop. I don't know if you've seen Ari Melber, he likes to recite 90s hip hop verses on air. And it's like, it's destroyed my favorite genre, you know, I'm 43. He'll be like, and he delivers it like Walter Cronkite. He's like, there ain't no such thing as halfway crooks, Joe Manchin. Scared to death and scared to look. You're shook. You ain't a crook, Joe Manchin. You are a shook one. How the hell does this happen? How does this happen? And what the hell happened to Democracy Now? Remember Democracy Now when it was good?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What the fuck? It was like Russiagate, promoting war on Syria. I remember I used to watch Democracy Now! Like in the Obama era, and they would have these weird little like breaks. They'd have like musical breaks that were totally incongruous, and it'd be like some random song like Hootie and the Blowfish, and then there would be like some leftists protesting something back when leftists used to protest before the Biden era in large numbers. And then it would be like, I only want to be with you. And then Amy would come in, this shit ain't good. This shit ain't good right now. Democracy Now, democracy.org, the Morning Peace Report. Today we're going to cover a State Department funded, and arms industry funded think tank, whose report on China shows that China is detaining 1 trillion Uyghurs under the Great Wall of China. Her voice goes up at random times. But first, we're turning to the director of the National Institute of Autoimmune Disease, Anthony Fauci, a god among men. My hero. Anthony Fauci, welcome to Democracy Now! The pandemic has been going for 20 months, and you're determined to make it go for 20 more. said that we're going to reach herd immunity at 80%. What can we do to encourage the vaccine hesitant to take the vaccine? Talk about that. She was like, talk about that. Like she doesn't, I actually got it wrong because she never asked the question. She'll just be like, talk about that. Well, Amy, I want to tell you, first of all, that we are implementing a new program to encourage undocumented immigrants coming across the border who have not yet taken the 7th or 8th booster shot against the Omega Phaeton variant. And that means we have dispatched border militias to hit them with blow darts filled with Pfizer booster shots. We are also encouraging suburban mothers to slip Pfizer syringes in their Mars bars, their Three Musketeers, and their Milky Ways this Halloween. We do, however, warn you that if you place ivermectin in candy corn, you will be immediately removed to one of our quarantine centers that has been newly constructed by Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum. We are also encouraging everyone to wear 3 schmatters. You must wear 2 schmatters on your face and 1 schmatter on your tuchus, because we have determined that flatulation can potentially spread viral droplets of the SARS-CoV-2 COVID-19 virus known as SARS-CoV-2. So, yeah, I was reading Fauci's emails actually, and he was talking to former Health and Human Services higher up from Obama. She asked him, should I wear a mask? And he actually said, no, don't do it. It doesn't do shit. But I've learned from being here tonight that there is some science there. Masks are necessary when walking around and serving people. But if you're sitting down, then you cannot spread COVID-19. Especially if you're sitting in close quarters as we are. You cannot spread it. But if you are a worker or someone holding Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's ridiculous dress, you must wear it because that is when it is spread. Right. It's kind of like at the beginning of the pandemic when there were curfews, because COVID-19 can only spread at night. Right. It's like a werewolf. It's like, right. So, I mean, things are fucking weird. If you had told me that this was going to be happening 2 years ago, I would have laughed at you. It's what they call a new normal, where things that just don't seem normal are now, we're supposed to accept them as normal. We're supposed to accept as normal that an entire swath of the population that is completely healthy is a public health threat because they do not want to take an experimental vaccine. And if any of them get sick, well, we're supposed to want to deny them health care. Right. Because we're not even talking about public health care, single payer anymore. We're talking about denying health care to people who do not comply, even on the left. We're not talking about building more ICU beds. We're just kind of accepting the status quo with this. And if those people refuse and they're healthcare workers and they were already infected and they have natural immunity, which is 7 times stronger than naive vaccination, according to a Tel Aviv University study that researched 60,000 people, well, they should just be thrown out of their jobs. We were banging pots and pans out of our windows for them a year ago. From heroes to zeros, throw them out of their job. And a lot of the left supports that. I don't get it. It's a new normal. It's very strange. The social contract's been turned upside down. But here's the scariest part. Passports. See, we oppose ID cards and voter polls. We oppose that. But we're supposed to support IDs for people at the lunch counter to participate in society. You have to follow a government mandate, and the mandates won't end with this one, I guarantee you, in order to participate in society. And the passports will be digitized and linked to your digital wallet, your biometric scan, and you will have a de facto social credit system in this country before you know it, mark my words. And that is the real agenda of our feudal lords. It is not about a vaccine. The vaccine is just a tool to get there. So I need to speak out about this.
That's right.
Right.
And under the cover of this emergency, and it could have been any other emergency, it's just like the post 9/11 emergency. That's when they get their agenda through. We were all forced to be at home, to do remote learning, to participate and use the tools that big tech wants us to use, a big boon for them.
Right.
And Congress passed the CARES Act, and the Fed printed trillions and trillions of fake money, doping Wall Street, not the economy, doping Wall Street, so that our feudal lords could run off with $3.7 trillion, the largest upward transfer of wealth and the fastest one in history, while the workers, the 99%, lost $3 trillion. What they did to the economy is what Joe Biden's fail son Hunter did to his brother's widow. I don't know, maybe I could rephrase that. What they did to the economy is what California Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom and Donald Trump's fail son Donald Trump Jr. did respectively to Kimberly Guilfoyle. That was consensual. That is a great point. Great point. I didn't think of that. Billionaires under the new normal increased their wealth by 40%. 200,000 small businesses were declared non-essential, while the big box stores run by the Waltons and the big corporations that donate to the politicians were declared essential, and those 200,000 small businesses were absolutely obliterated. Jeff Bezos is playing in outer space with Captain Kirk. Whitey's on the moon. And Julian Assange is in Belmarsh prison. This is the new normal. And maybe some people, I don't know, on the radical left, I've seen them doing like ratchet-ass West Side Story reenactments with the Proud Boys and are not really aware of what's going on behind their back. But this is what's going on. And I know Randy doesn't want to talk about 9/11, but I already did vaccines. So. But when you think about it, there really kind of is a 9/11 parallel, especially to Building 7 when you look at what they did with the economy. Yep. Controlled demolition. No, I actually, that was Justin's joke, by the way. Props to Justin. I'm actually not a truther. I'm just an anti-Semitic Assadist, Kremlin shill who denies the Uyghur genocide and is an anti-vaxxer, but do not fucking call me a truther.
Now you lab Oregon.
We have another act left.
Sam, you might have been onto something, I don't know. Shit is getting weird. I'm willing to consider anything at this point. But the most important thing, and something that's really relevant to Julian, is that the diabolical tech lords who sucked up record profits during the pandemic are in total control of our digital commons. They totally control YouTube. They control Instagram. They control Facebook. They control they control everything, and they're talking to the national security state about who to purge and who to censor. And if you say anything against the new normal, or you contravene the official narrative around so many national security state deceptions, you will be censored. When Julian Assange could still speak to us, even though he was still a captive, he actually warned about this. He issued a warning that I think has been overlooked. It was in January 2018 when Julian Assange warned that the future of humanity is a struggle between humans that control machines and machines that control humans. He said that while the internet has brought about a revolution in our ability to educate each other, the consequent democratic explosion has shaken existing establishments to their core. Like WikiLeaks, I don't know, the gray zone.
Yeah.
Burgeoning digital superstates such as Google, Facebook, and their Chinese equivalents, who are integrated with the existing order, have moved to reestablish discourse control. This is not simply a correction action. Undetectable mass social influence powered by artificial intelligence is an existential threat to humanity. And then he said this, which should be kind of eerie at this point. Nuclear war, climate change, or pandemics are existing threats that we can work through with discussion and thought. So he was already preparing for the current moment. And I wonder what he would be able to say if he were with us. We need him now because he was a prophet. This goes beyond supporting the First Amendment. This goes beyond any international legal principle. It's about saving humanity from these monsters who want to digitize everything and control us out of existence. And Julian Assange can help save us. That's what I truly believe. This was his last warning about the future of humanity. And that's why he was denied the Nobel Prize. He should have gotten the Nobel Prize, obviously. Who got the Nobel Prize? Well, yes, this year was this lady Maria Ressa, who's funded basically by a bunch of CIA cutouts, the National Endowment for Democracy, Pierre Omidyar, tech billionaire, and then some Russian guy who's anti-Putin. I mean, how obvious can you get? And then before that, it was Obama. Remember, Obama got it before he really had to do anything as president. And his speech, he basically said what he was going to do. He was like, look, I am going to arm the moderate rebels in Syria. I'm going to give them $1 billion of arms to overrun the country. And I'm going to go to Libya and shove a bayonet up Gaddafi's ass and destabilize Europe as a result. And then I'm going to destroy the anti-war movement and start a global drone war and then jail Daniel Hale. And then all the Norwegians were like, yay, you're magic, you're magic. Like, why do we let Norwegians why did they decide what this is? So of course, all of the institutions have been exposed. All the institutions we're supposed to respect have been exposed by what happened to Julian Assange. And it's our job to continue to expose them. It's our job to continue to show up for Julian Assange. And it's our job to show up for people like Alex Saab as well. I want to kind of remind you of this person because he's facing a fate very similar to Julian Assange. Alex Saab is a Venezuelan diplomat who, like Julian Assange, is not a US citizen, and he has been kidnapped. He was kidnapped in Cape Verde on his way back from a trip where he was arranging food deals to help feed the Venezuelan people under US sanctions and siege. He's charged with money laundering because he's evading US sanctions, which everyone should do, because they're absolutely criminal. And today, the US government finally secured Alex Saab's extradition to a country where he is not a citizen, and he will be put on trial, likely in the same court where Julian Assange could face trial. What is it, like a 99% conviction rate?
98.2.
98.2. It's a kangaroo court. So let's keep Alex Saab in mind too, because this is the rules-based order that the Biden administration is talking about. It's mafia rule, where they make the rules and the rest of the world follows the orders. And we need to show. We need to speak up in the voice of international law and tell them that they can't do this. So let's keep Alex Saab in our thoughts. Let's keep Daniel Hale in our thoughts. Let's keep Craig Murray in our thoughts. And let's keep showing up for Julian Assange. Thank you, Randy.
All right.
I guess he's not going to go with me to get a vaccine shot. I'm getting boosted tomorrow. Give me a fucking vaccine every day of the week. They already got mine. I get the case. I got a fucking cell phone, so what's the difference? All right. Anyway, what a great job he did, Max. Disagree on some things, it's okay. We can have dissent in this room. It's okay. It's all right, man. That was great, and Alex Saab, and 3 million African Americans in prison in this country. We need to free them because that's political too. Their phony drug charges, that was political, and we speak out for them. We speak out for Leonard Peltier. We speak out for Rumia and the scores of political prisoners rotting away in U.S. country. All right, we got to get some laughs, man. I haven't gotten any laughs in a long. I haven't. It's been a third of laughs to me, but I got someone You know, I'm a wildcatter. Sometimes you get a laugh. That's why I don't strike well. It's okay, man. I want to thank you people out there who've been very patient, out there all over the world. I forgot to mention there are demonstrations everywhere, including Milan and Rome. I know that in Paris. I didn't mention those, and I know you got a whole bunch more, Alex. But next week, next Sunday, we will be, and it'll be live streamed, up in New York City at the beautiful Theater 80 St. Mark's. But right now, to close the show, it's the guy who really put this show together because I got the last 3 acts, including Max. Recommend everyone that you just heard tonight, with the exception of, that was my, you're all right? You're my, Margie, I invited, and so, and I invited Julie. You were the first guy, because you and I talked about this a year ago. He's the host of Redacted Tonight, one of the sharpest political satirists in the country, ever. Mr. Lee Camp. Give him a big round of applause.
Alright, we only got 13 more acts, you folks. Hang in there. The telethon is just getting started. 24 hours for Assange. We're fucking doing it. Everyone's exhausted. It's so fun. Ah, it is good to be here. Give it up one more time though for Randy Credico. He really did put this whole thing together. I had nothing to do with that. He's an incredible comic and with a legendary history and everything he's done. But I will say, the moment I knew the Mueller investigation had nothing was when they were like, the mastermind was Randy Credico. He fucking did it. He got the info from Assange and brought it to Roger Stone. It's like, oh, they have nothing. They have nothing. He doesn't know to use fucking email, and he's the mastermind. Russian collusion. That was the moment. But this is cool. This is fun to be here. This is how you want to set up a comedy show. You want to be all the lighting behind the comic. This is how you. This is comedy, the witness protection program for everybody out there on the live stream. They're just seeing a black silhouette. Like, the government's coming to get us. And it's just a dark shadow. This is exactly how you want to do it. I mean, you know, Max talked about what garbage the mainstream media has been on Assange, and it's truly incredible. And I just got this idea this week. I decided to tweet at a bunch of these fucking assholes, you know, Rachel Maddow, and just go down the list of Wolf Blitzer or whoever, CNN, and just be like, hey, are you going to have the courage to discuss the widely reported now, you know, Yahoo News, Guardian, all these other, widely reported now story that our CIA was planning to assassinate Julian Assange, a fucking journalist. And so I tweeted all these people, and none of them replied, with the exception of NPR's Weekend Edition host, Scott Simon, who said to me, and he did a hit piece on me a couple of years ago, but that's unrelated. But he said, well, I tweeted out, you know, will NPR's Scott Simon have the courage to actually cover the CIA plan to kill Assange, a fellow journalist, which has been, you know, widely reported? And he responds, sorry, Lee, NPR has its own superb team of national security reporters. If that's a story they can independently verify, I'm sure they'll report it. But just repeating someone else's story without independent confirmation is not journalism. Okay, first of all, they do that all fucking day, all right? Repeat shit that they got from other outlets. But then on top of that, he's just admitting, he's like, Daddy NPR hasn't allowed me to report that yet. What can I do? I can't do anything. It's an amazing admission. That, and also he said, you know, when they were going to do this piece on me, and I knew it was going to be a hit piece, and he kept asking, Lee, can we have an interview? Can we have an interview? And I said, absolutely. I'll do it live. Live interview. Love to. And they kept being like, oh no, you know what, we can't do live interviews. It's just not, because I knew if it was taped, they would just cut out whatever they wanted. And so I just kept saying that, and so they never did it. They did the attack piece without me. And then I was either the same show or maybe it was the following week. He did a live interview with Karl Rove. Because they have time for that. But this is our garbage media. This is how they cover Assange or fail to cover Assange. And it's just, the attacks are fucking, they're ridiculous. They've always been ridiculous. You know, as has been mentioned before, Assange and WikiLeaks have never reported something false in their entire fucking career. Never. But compare that to CNN or Fox News or any of them. They can't fart without a retraction. It's like, they never reported something false. And it's just, and then people are like, well, even people on the left, it's amazing. They'll be like, look, I agree with you on a lot of things, but Assange, he's like a dick. He's a dick? That's what you got? He's a dick? He showed us the truth of our fucking governments around the world, the truth of what's going on, the war crimes, the banking crimes, and he's a dick? Honestly, it'd be like if someone, you were about to walk into your house and it was on fire and someone's like, dude, your house is on fucking fire! And you were like, hold on, you're a dick. Not listening to that, and then you just march into the house. It doesn't matter, but we need the truth. We need the truth. The truth is so fucking crucial, and obviously WikiLeaks and Assange, they reveal it on a large scale, the important shit. But we're lied to every day in so many ways. It's amazing. It's just the garbage they feed us and the social engineering it requires for us to just accept it all as if it makes any sense. And like, even just tiny things, like expiration dates on food. They're fucking meaningless. They're meaningless. None of them mean. There's like 3 things where expiration dates actually matter, all right? It's like unpasteurized cheese, deli meats, and a Bulgarian ass. I don't know what the last one is, but it's like 3 things, and none of them matter because guess what? If something's a day over the date, what do you think happens to cereal that's a day over the date? Do you think it just kills thousands of children? There's whole Count Chocula killing fields out there because they were a day over the date? No, something might taste a little stale, or you might have a little more gas or something. But they want you to, A, because it makes us feel so safe to have that date on there. It's so important to us. And B, because they can get you to throw it out more. You throw it out, you buy more. You can't even donate most of this shit to homeless shelters because it's after that meaningless date that they put on there. Do you think these corporations give a shit about our health? That they're worried about the expiration date of their food? Johnson & Johnson had asbestos in the baby powder for like 30 years. And they just like advertised around it. They were like, asbestos baby powder. It's the bestos baby powder. They give a shit. Cigarettes kill most of their most loyal fans. What are the expiration dates on cigarettes? Or alcohol or any of this shit? It doesn't matter. They don't care about our health. Some of the food says best if enjoyed by. What the fuck does that mean? It should say diarrhea if enjoyed after. All right, now I can plan my evening. Figure out if I need a babysitter. You know. I was best if enjoyed by 35. I'm still doing fine. I haven't made that many people sick. But yeah, they're lying to us in so many ways, and there's big ways, there's little ways, another big way, Wall Street's a fucking Ponzi scheme, all right? And I don't mean that in like the funny, like, oh, Wall Street's a Ponzi scheme. No, like the literal definition of Wall Street. The SEC's definition of a Ponzi scheme applies to Wall Street. Because initially, stocks were like, you buy into a company, and then if they do well, they pay you a little of their profits, right? It's dividends. But nowadays, that's not how most of it's working. People aren't getting paid dividends. You only get paid from a stock if you find another fucking idiot to buy it from you for a higher amount, which is the definition of a Ponzi scheme. That piece of paper is worthless unless you get someone else to buy. If people don't buy in, then the whole house of cards falls down, all right? You're just standing there with your dick in your hand, all right? That is it. And I don't know why that expression means you're doing nothing. And the other one is, it means the same as you got your thumb up your ass. You're just sitting there with your thumb up your ass. You got your thumb up your ass and your dick in your hand. That doesn't sound like nothing. That sounds like a lot of things. Not nothing. If you're not into that, that's a terrible evening. Something is going horribly awry. And if you're into that, then that's still a big evening. If someone looks in the window and sees that, they're not like, yeah, nothing happening in there. Wow, you guys are getting tired. That laugh is like, ah! Moving along, clown. We've been here for 6 hours. Let's wrap this up. It's a fucking Ponzi scheme. We're lied to on so many different levels. And you're not even, a lot of these things, they've got us so indoctrinated, so socially engineered, that the questions aren't even asked. The real questions aren't even asked. Like the whole idea of like jobs and work. I mean, we're born into this world and then basically you try and earn enough money to rent your freedom back on weekends.
Right.
Like that's the system we set up.
Right.
And you can't even find a politician who will talk about that. You can't even, in our bullshit political system, you have the people who say, you know, the people that say, I'm gonna bring back, jobs that pay better. I'm gonna bring back more jobs. It basically like will allow you to run around the treadmill more. And then people are like, that guy! He said I'll bring back more treadmills to run around. No one will even discuss real, I'm bringing back jobs, and the jobs are always doing awful shit, right? It's always jobs with oil companies, jobs with coal or some shit. It's not, anything's a job if you pay someone to do it, all right? You could have a job giving everyone herpes if someone was paying you. You could have a job for good shit, planting trees and all this wonderful cleaning up streams. But no, jobs are only fucking killing the planet. That's the only thing we can find jobs for. You could have jobs doing wonderful stuff. I have a plan. I want to give everybody a job. Everybody wants a job. We're well paying, all the benefits, everything. I want to pay everybody to power our country on stationary bikes. Just millions of stationary bikes.
Right.
Pay them with tons of money, give them great benefits. And there you go. I just solved the energy crisis, global warming, the job crisis, and the obesity epidemic. All in one sentence. All in one fucking sentence. It could be, and if you don't like bikes, it could be any of the gym machines, all right? The pull-down bar, or the arms, or the vagina spreader, or whatever you got. You know, you have the shake weight. You remember the shake weight? That thing. Men have been practicing for this one for years, all right? We are ready to solve this energy crisis. Put us in, coach. This is for those of you not liking my other shit. Have you ever noticed the words unicorn and acorn both mean one corn? I think that's the most important thing that's been said here tonight. We're lying with the social engineering and the fucking lies are incredible. The jobs lie, and it's little things too that drive me nuts. For some reason, the little things will almost make me equally angry to the real shit. Like the fact that, like elevator door close buttons, 80% of them aren't even connected. Literally aren't connected. They just keep them there because if they aren't there, we'll lose our minds, all right? It's just the illusion of control. They just, because we get in there and there's no door close button. We're like, ah! We start discussing who to eat first. It's like, so they put it there just so we can feel powerful. I'm closing the doors. It's all me. If it's just illusion of control, put a fucking steering wheel in there. I would love that. I would love to be steering the elevator. Yeah, come on in, I got this. Where are you going? We love the illusion of control. Hence voting. Oh, come on, Joffrey did a pro 9/11 bit, and that's the one that bugs you? No, I actually believe we should vote. We just gotta vote in such numbers that you swamp what's stolen because it's gotten to be such a ridiculous fucking system. I mean, the sad thing is, and I've been raging about fucking voting machines for years, and now Donald Trump has like taken it over as the issue. So now when you're like, the voting machines are fucking bullshit, people are like, oh, you like Trump? No! No! I don't! The black boxes that you can never see what actually happened. Imagine if that were the case for imagine for anything else other than voting. Imagine if at the end of the last 10 minutes of the Super Bowl, all right? The last 10 minutes of fucking Mike Wilbur! The last 10 minutes of the Super Bowl, they just turned off all the cameras, sent the whole crowd home, and then just finished the game. And then came onto the news and said, yeah, the Cowboys won.
Right? Right?
People would lose their fucking minds!
Right?
This country would be on fire! But instead, it's just the presidency and all of our elections.
Right.
And we're fine with it.
Right.
We're glowing. Screw the Super Bowl if it were Little League games. Parents would have refs' heads on spikes. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up here in a second. The mic's tired too, so it's like we gotta end this shit. But I just want to wrap up by saying that obviously you all know how important this cause is and how this is if Assange is gonna get out, then it's gotta be soon. It's gotta be. I mean, this is the it's at the end. It's at the end. Either they'll agree not to extradite him, or it just gets fucking crazier. But it's so crucial, and for the people on the live stream, please donate to the fund that Stella Morris has set up. And I realize it's not going to be loads of money, but I do have a couple of copies of my book, and I'll be donating all the proceeds. If anyone wants to buy one, all the proceeds to that same fund, Stella Morris's defense fund.
You brought them here?
Yeah, I brought a bunch. If anyone wants one, just find me back there. And actually, one of the chapters is devoted to everything WikiLeaks revealed and how fucking crucial it was. All right, thank you all so much.
All right, this guy was fantastic, huh? Scott, you were fantastic. Just fantastic. And doing the live stream, thank you very much. Over there, Ford, everyone, Ford Fisher. He's the best live streamer in the city, unless you want to go with union guys. I'm joking, you are the best. That's an old joke too. And then, thank you, Kelly Lane, who does all of the work for Assange Countdown, Freedom Seats here. She and Ford work together. Otherwise we wouldn't have live streams. Nathan, thank you very much for picking up some of that slack tonight. That was really vital. Steve Brown, a big supporter of ours. Thank you for coming in, Steve. Support of all causes. Chuck, and Bernadette. They're grunts. They're the only ones that showed up when I stood in front of the DOJ. Max showed up and a few others. And Medea did. I was just going to stroke you, so just hold on, all right? And who does more hard fucking work than Medea Benjamin and Ann Wright? Aren't they fabulous? Code Pink. Jody Evans, is she here? Jody Evans. You know that I'm blind, all right? Who else should I leave out? Olivia. Give Olivia a round of applause. You weren't wearing pink, you were wearing red. Not kidding. Yes, okay, so it's a faux pas, man. Had a tough time, my dog shit on the fucking floor here. Fritzy's over there all pissed off, you know. Dave's saying they better buy a lot of drinks tonight or you're never coming back, so. We're gonna hang out tonight, upstairs, downstairs. We're gonna have, don't go anywhere unless you've gotta get on that metro at a certain time, or you have to go with Max and get a vaccine at the hospital. Max tonight is gonna, play Russian roulette and get vaccines from 6 different places. You guys from Kentucky, good luck. All right, good luck tomorrow at Harper's Ferry. Wear a hat, all right? All right. And who else is there whose ass I should kiss? I haven't gotten anybody. Jaffer, you were fantastic. Jaffer, give him a round of applause. Jaffer Khan. Remember Zach, every September 11th.
Yes.
And then, of course, where's Naomi? Carvani, she's still here? She's split. Well, we won't waste any time giving her Fritzy, and of course, Dave, he made this happen, believe me. Dave, Big Dave Ruby over there, give him a round of applause. I said, he was all into this, all right? I'm sure the place lost a ton of money. Let's give him some back. Go to the bar, upstairs, downstairs, buy Lee's book. It goes to Stella Morris's Defense Fund, and go to Stella, M-O-R-I-S-1 on Twitter. You people out there, and donate. Right now, so fucking critical to do this. Anybody else I should be? Thank you, John Kiriakou, for all of this. Thank you for all the work that you've done. Thank you. She's a real hero. You want to say a few words, Annie? Right here.
Yeah, well, for sure. Everybody gives money to this defense fund. I mean, we talk about defense, we talk about the Department of Defense and getting so much crappy money from our pocketbooks. Well, put your pocketbook where a defense really counts, and that's for Julian Assange.
What about you? Do you have a few words to say? I know you never do, but Nadia.
I say that I can't believe that the Nobel Peace Prize went to 2 journalists when there was the Julian Assange that should have gotten that Peace Prize, and we give him the People's Peace Prize.
Thank you. And Jody.
We have to remember who Julian is for us, and that we care more about his freedom than they care about keeping him in. And it really is like, what is our role in this? We all have a role. And just remembering that. It's super important for Julian and for the world.
All right. And Fritzy, no. What about you?
Someone lost a cellular telephone.
Oh, that's not mine.
No, it's not.
What does it mean?
I don't know. Someone left it in the.
Oh, somebody, I didn't know if it was a joke or what. Somebody lost a cellular, it's got a big white line on it.
Auction it.
All right, this goes where, the name of it is 924. All right, it says, I have no idea who it is. Anybody lose a phone?
It's mine.
I'll give it to you.
In the bathroom by the toilet.
Huh? What? It's yours, man.
Found in the bathroom.
We'll take that off the top, man. Finder's fee. All you folks coming. Sam Husseini, thank you for bringing me to this place. Really. This was the best place I could have possibly done this show. A place that is owned by, managed, owned by the people that work here. The only place in town. Sorry about that secret meeting. I can tell you for sure that neither Dave nor Fritzy knew about the Steele thing, all right? So they have no idea. People come in, and anybody know who that guy Steele is? I mean, do you know what he looks like? I have no fucking idea. You know, he was dressed like Clark Kent that day. All he saw was Harry Melbourne. I wanted, give me something. You got that from John Brennan, great. All right, so, and of course, these two dear friends of mine, Chuck and Bernadette, thank you for all the work you do. Remember on next week, the 23rd, in London, 1 o'clock, go to Don't Extradite Assange website if you're anywhere, and let's all have good thoughts for Craig Murray, because COVID actually exists there, and he'd like to have a vaccine, and I don't know if he has one, but it's broken out in that facility where he is. It's all over the place. Let's hope that he doesn't contract it. All right? All right, so that being said, Steve, now he's awake. The show's over, man. He just asked him, when's the show gonna start? He's been doing a Rip fucking Van Winkle for the last 100 years. Who'll pay their rent? Remember that song? Who'll pay their rent for races? Rip Van Winkle, when Rip Van Winkle went away. Yes. It's an old song. Too hip for the room. All right. Thank you, Margaret Ratner Kunstler. You're the only name I think I left out who spoke here today. And all you drunks. Here we go out with, my friend. I know what you want there. Let's see. It's what I used to do in my act. You know Mac tonight? Yeah. Okay, let's see if I can do this. I used to do this in Vegas in the 70s, all right? And I'll do a little bit of it because I told Fritz I'd do a little Louis Armstrong. This is the old Randy Credit Card. Way back, way back. Here you go. Oh, the sun has prejudice dear, and it shows them pearly white. Just that jackknife as old man is there, and it keeps him out of sight. Oh, Sunday morning, I'm sleeping bags, drooping down. Oh, that cement is for the weight, dear. Baba get the tin, Mac is back in town. Give me up, old Suki Tadre, Laudelania, and Wright, and Medea Benjamin. Oh, the line forms on the right, dear. Now that Mac is back in town. Thank you very much. See you next Sunday from New York. All right, same time. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
I did sing it. I did.
Very impressive. Very impressive.
I haven't done that in 30 years.
That was something.
Great food. A lot of laughs. I really enjoyed it. Oh, great. Fantastic. Really